Had a great game last week. Fico and Danty, new dad during the week. Tuesday night became a dad. Ntamak and the mercurial Dupont round out that French starting 15. The South Africans, well, they've been forced into a couple of changes, and some are by choice. Nche, Mbambe and Malherbe in the front row. Etzebeth and Mostart gets the start in the second row. Colisse on the blind side. Quirka Smith in at 8. Leroux gets to start at fullback. Arendse and Colby back in that number 14 jersey. Creelan, Dialanda in the centre partnership. Big evening you feel for Willemse at outside half. And Faf de Klerk, no slouch at all. Scrum half for South Africa. And all those names that you see, plenty of experience and one or two new caps on both replacement benches. And no doubt we will see all of them as the game progresses. It'd nearly make you put your boots back on, Tom.
Well, I was hunting last week. I forgot them this week. I tell you what, they've done brilliantly, haven't they? Turning the music off when the anthem goes, it adds something to it. They do it in Edinburgh, of course.
Yeah, there is something about the French and indeed the Welsh in their home games. The singing of the national anthem is just that little bit stronger than it is anywhere else, and it adds so much to the occasion. Will the game live up to the occasion? Well, we're about to find out. A real blend of ways of going about this game. Wayne Barnes becomes the most capped official in World Rugby, his 101st international cap, the perfect man to handle an occasion like this. We are off and running at the start of the final game of the day at the Autumn Nations Series. It's France and South Africa. And it is really important, you feel, Tom, for South Africa to get off to a strong start. If the French get up ahead of steam here and start to hit their lines, they could be unstoppable.
Well, the French haven't trailed at half-time in their last 24 tests. If South Africa are going to come away from here in Marseille with a win, they need to start well and execute well.
Ramos runs over the first up tackle of Arendse, and France go about throwing their significant bodies at the other significant bodies. I mean, the physicality on show from both of these teams will be, well, you can watch it, and that will be another terrific battle. A different type of battle between Dupont and de Klerk, and Dupont gets the penalty.
Yeah, there's certainly, I mean, those two are physical, but they're not quite the physicality you're going to get between Etzebeth and Woki, Mostert and Flamont, are they? But certainly Faf de Klerk has made it clear every time Antoine Dupont has the ball, he's going to do all he can to disrupt his game. He knows how important the French captain is to their momentum, the way they play the game.
And there it was. Wow, it's so close, isn't it? Faf de Klerk has a little look up at the big screen and wonders. Decisions made, penalty to France, and it will be Thomas Ramos who will get the opportunity to get France on the scoreboard first.
Well, it was that close. I don't think that will put Faf de Klerk off doing that exactly the same thing again.
112 metres with the ball in hand going forward last week against Australia. 20 points as well. That's what you call a good day at the office. He needs another one today. Early opportunity, no gimme. It's got to travel. It does travel. France hit the front. 2 minutes gone, 3 points on the board.
Well, it's exactly the start that they would have won. Ramos continuing the form that we saw last week at the Stade de France. Of course, France without Jaminet, who's been filling that 15 shirt for a long time, but Ramos, you've got someone like that can step in, you're in a good spot.
Bad mistake, rare mistake from Aldrich, gives South Africa an opportunity to attack with ball in hand. Dialende looking for a straight line runner who eventually comes, Willie Leroux, but he doesn't control the ball, and it's picked up and dealt with by Olivon. South Africa, glimmer of hope quickly is extinguished, and France back in control of the ball again. Dupont will complete the exit, and France, well, they get away with one there.
They do get away with one. And it was those... In fact, it's Aldrit who hardly made a mistake last week. Dupont, the first kick he made in Paris, straight out, he made the mistake. Changing roles there, those two players. It'll be really interesting to see how these packs match up. The dynamism shown by the French, both the second row and the back row, is awesome.
Mbonambi goes for Etzebeth, and somehow popping up with it is Aronsa. Sets it up for Faf de Klerk, and well, there's another error. And it's a French scrum. And you know what? That has nothing to do with conditions and everything to do with the occasion. You're seeing players making mistakes, and that's just nerves.
It's nerves, but it's also a case of both teams knowing that they have to catch it cleanly, because that defence from both sides has got so much physicality in it. We talked about the French attack. Actually, it's the work that Sean Edwards has done in defence which makes this French team so difficult to beat right now.
Balance every stage.
So then,
balance every stage.
Scrum. Every part of this game is an intriguing battle. All the little chess pieces that will make up the full set.
Only the 5 kilos between them. That's probably an extra packet of biltong while he's been watching the telly or something.
Alherbe, Mbonambi, Ox Nche against Antonio, Marchand and Baye in that front row. Rock solid from France, and Dupont goes down the narrow of the two sides, uses Ramos, and then Peno with a little chip over the top. Crowd urge him on. South Africa deal with it, and Dutoy comes away with it. Etzebeth, they need to be careful, and Baye was that. Just got to a point where he might have been in real trouble, but brought him back to earth safely. Crossfield kick. Chelsea Colby's after this one. France have it. Ntamak, they're on their feet. Ntamak into the 22. Foot in touch. But as soon as Romain Ntamak saw a little bit of space, 67,000 people off their seats, urging him on.
That's really interesting, isn't it? Look how Damien Penaud just shrugs Aronsa out the way. But South Africa have gone to the wings very early in both occasions. If Cheslin Colby had caught that, he was away. Arguably the two most dangerous wingers in world rugby right now.
France, little variation on the line-out that they weren't ready for from South Africa, and the clearance kick is a really good one for Damien Willemse. It's such a big day for Willemse. Not at his best last week. That's Ntamak almost getting away. Willemse who got back to make the tackle.
Well, Andre Pollard, Frans Steyn. They've got some players to come back. But I think Willemse, he adds something to this South African backline, doesn't he? He's not going to sit in the pocket and kick the ball away. He's a real attacking threat.
Marchand finds his man, down it comes, and then Ntamak boots it straight down the throat of Chelson Colby, who of course plays his club rugby in Toulon. At fullback last week, just wasn't as effective, you felt, as he is out on that wing. South Africa mixing it up a little bit. Creel almost away.
Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does.
Scrum France. It is 100 miles an hour right now.
It's 100 miles an hour, but you know exactly the homework that South Africa have been doing during the week. They've put the boot to ball twice now, which means that they know this French defence is coming up hard on that outside. The space is in behind.
Okay.
If they can get the ball into Aronsa and Colby.
Yeah, just spoken.
Well, I wouldn't fancy defending them. They'll beat you in 2 meters of space and embarrass you, leave you clutching at air.
So first
a little bit of attention
side,
for
just took a little
Cyril
bit of
Baye,
time to settle,
who did really well along with Julien Marchand to make sure that Eben Etzebeth, having got him up high, came back down to ground, because what you don't want to see, apart from the obvious, and the danger of players being thrown around like that. It's dangerous enough out there. You don't want to see this game ruined by an unnecessary red card.
Well, we saw a bit of that this morning, didn't we? In the World Cup final for the women down in Auckland. Some big decisions that had to be made by the officials.
Well, we said at the beginning of the day it was going to take something very, very special from the men's game to get anywhere close to that as an occasion and a game. This probably, on paper, was the one that had the best chance so far. It's been very engaging.
Set and balance, set and balance.
It's been very engaging, but there is already an Mexican wave going around the stadium.
Balance, equilibrium.
William Servat looks on at his French pack. Face of Anthony Gelonche, wearing the 6th shirt for France. Dupont again off a solid scrum, but also with the attention of Faf de Klerk bearing down on him. Arendse, give him a breath of space and he will go through it. De Klerk again on rushing French defence. South Africa kick over, but back will go for the penalty.
Well, it's just a glimpse there, wasn't there,
Of
of space for Arendse. I cannot wait to see him break free.
We're already seeing that South African back three keeping the ball in hand a little bit more and looking to bring it back, make some meters, make that French defence think a little bit. So often we see the kick come, but it's been noticeable in the first 10 minutes the amount of ball they carried back.
I think also we've seen
we have a problem with your
Willie Leroux previously.
We need assistant technique.
We see Arendse cutting into that French defence. We've seen Willie Leroux previously kick ball away. Look, just nothing kicks really. Yes, he's kicked probably 2 or 3 times already, but it's actually to retrieve the ball. They're attacking kicks.
France get up and disrupt and win the South African line out just as it looked like the South Africans might set up some sort of platform to launch an attack. It's the second time they've got themselves into that 22 and let themselves down. Good work from France. Dupont completes the job. I mean, that is an enormous kick. Well managed. Arendse did really well. South Africa again keep the ball in hand, and back with it comes Kwagga Smith. De Klerk, Leroux, Willemse, very comfortable of course in open play. Lots of football at fullback as well, taken on by Nche. Quick ball for De Klerk, back from where they came. Etzebeth springs into life, uses that big frame to keep South Africa going forward after that poor pass from De Klerk.
Interesting that Willie Leroux stepping up at first receiver more often than not than Willemse right now.
There is menace in the ball carrying from South Africa right now. Colby. 2-3 South Africans in to clear the ball out. Back inside to Etzebeth, but a wall of blue there to meet him. Dante is down and injured. Wayne Barnes will have to keep an eye on him. Very close to that breakdown. Nche will play scrum half. Needs a bit of support, you know. Gets it eventually from Etzebeth, but it was too late, and you can see that one coming from all the way up here.
Yeah, he just got himself isolated. Made Etzebeth's job really difficult. Had to shuffle in behind him to make sure that
he's
he could try and secure that ball as best he could. But concern right now for Jonathan Danty. French centre, wonder whether he's just got a whack in the eye. I think it's a boot in the... Ooh, that is a red card. That's it.
Yeah, let's listen to the referee.
It's whether or not it's foul play, as in, is someone moving at the last minute? Keep away from me if anyone comes running. Thank you. So the first question is this foul play, isn't it? That's the first question. So we've got head contact, but the first question is it foul play? So 12.
Dialende on the left and Peter Steph du Toit.
We've got head on head. So that's not the best angle, please.
Yeah, the original angle is the best angle.
Yeah,
so
let's show that
again.
angle.
Brian McNeese, the television match official, the other voice you're hearing.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay, so let's just talk about that one. We've got direct head contact with a player who's vulnerable on the floor.
Yes.
He's not looking to move that player. He is leading with the head straight into the head of the player on the floor.
Yes.
Do we agree with those facts? There is no mitigation.
Yes.
Do we agree?
Correct.
Here we go.
Then there is only one outcome. Well, only moments ago we talked about players not doing things that would put referees in a position to have to send them off, and on the evidence of what we've seen, there is no question but that is a red card.
I'm so, Ryle, I'm very anti chucking someone under a bus when it comes to the players on the pitch right now, but that is absolute lunacy from Peter Steph du Toit. He's just completely lost his head. He's got red mist and he's gone at Jonathan Danty. He knows exactly what he's done. There was no outcome for that action other than a red card.
Well, Danty at least has been able to leave the field on his own steam. Penalty doesn't find touch. It's Makalou who's come in wearing number 21. But this is now a very, very different game for both sets of players. France will have the numerical advantage the whole way from now, minute 12 to the end of the game. There's the substitute for Jonathan Danty. In comes Makalou, Stade Francais, 10th international cap. Where to from here for South Africa? Mbonambi and the pack go to the maul. It was a maul they didn't get much change out of last week. It was defended well by Ireland, and now it's being defended well by France. Dialende there for de Klerk, and now Oxenche. Good carry from him, eventually put down by Olivon. Knocked forward in the tackle from Etzebeth, and that one is allowed to continue. Referee keeps his arms by his sides, and that's okay.
Outside of the 22, green ball.
Green ball. Dupont,
Just make sure
you can see him
holding players from
enjoying every moment of this now.
Well, it's exactly the start. Even the red
Last
card
look,
aside,
last look,
it's exactly the start that France would have wanted down here in Marseille. The crowd are up as Allez les Bleus rings out around the stadium. South Africa really now have to think about how they manage the rest of this game.
Taken by Franco Mostard, playing his club rugby in Japan. Lots of these South Africans with a spell in Japan now or recently. Good work from them all on this occasion from South Africa.
Entry, blue 5.
Side entry from a French player, advantage to South Africa, and they look to spin it along that three-quarter line and get it out to Arendse. There for de Klerk. De Klerk then gets up and does the clear-out work, and I think that's offside from France. Ain't nobody taking a backward step here, my friends. Nobody.
Penalty back there. Entry at the ball.
Villy Leroux, he did eventually, and he realised it was a prop or a hooker that he was against.
Danty comes back from the changing room. Surely he won't be coming back in. Became a dad, as I was saying earlier in the week. Tuesday night there was a question of whether he'd start tonight, having missed a couple of sessions, but Fabien Galtier and the French Brains Trust decided they wanted to go with the same 15 again.
He probably gets a couple of nights off shift as well, does he?
Not touching that.
Just in case she misses his listening. Mbonambi
and South Africa just outside the French 22, but they don't secure possession on their own ball, and Julien Marchand says thank you very much, and France sends South Africa back inside their own 22 again. Chelson Colby. Tackle was from Olivon. France after this one. And France have won this one. Aldrich. Through the hands of the prop forwards it goes. And then it's Woki. Narrow side. France have numbers. Just with the line at their mercy. Ramos and co. just don't control it.
Well, I think it was the brilliance of Dupont that actually caught Ramos out. He double pumped, really drew the defender. Ramos wasn't quite ready. Always got to be expecting the ball. No matter which line you're running, where you think the ball should go, you have to expect it.
All coming from South Africa not securing their own ball at the line out, and thereafter they're retreating.
They're just generally a bit sloppy right now, aren't they?
I'll come and find you. 1 second, see it. I'll come and find
The
you.
ball's not clean at the breakdown. Faf de Klerk's trying to scoop it up off the floor. What a brilliant French image that was.
Crowd raised their voice once again while you're watching that. Some concern from Uni Antonio, the prop forward for France, the La Rochelle prop, but he's back on his feet and heading towards his teammates as Ramos sets up for his second. We're almost 20 minutes in.
Got a feeling, the way this is set up, the way both teams have tried to shift the ball about, I'm really looking for, not that I'm wishing this game away, but I'm really looking forward to the last half an hour of this game. I've got a feeling there could be space everywhere.
Ramos. They're loving it in Marseille, on their feet once again. France lead it by 6 points to 0.
Well, the French, they're just applying pressure everywhere across the field, whether it be territory, defensively. And it's working perfectly in their favour right now. South Africa have hardly had a sniff.
If you've joined us late, that's the voice of Tom Mate, former England international, Toulon and Newcastle Blair, here in Marseille, France, leading it by 6 points to 0. The headline, though, the sending off of Pieter-Steph du Toit for a ludicrous tackle on Jonathan Dante, where he led with the head. It gave Wayne Barnes absolutely no other option other than to send him off, rightly so. South Africa will play with 14 for the rest of this game.
Antoine Dupont, last week in the first half, struggled with his exits. Made a couple of mistakes, he didn't get the protection from his forwards. The exits he'd made tonight in these first 18 minutes have been outstanding. Look at that for a kick. His team way up to the halfway line. Incredible.
Yeah, and what people forget is it's a one-step kick. And the power that he's able to generate to get the distance required.
Some incredible stats there. South Africa having made 240 odd metres, France just 67.
You daren't talk over it.
There's too many French up here on the balcony to clip me around the head.
So after all that, it's advantage France. They have the throw to the line out, just outside the South African 10-metre line. They have caused South Africa all sorts of problems on their own ball. And now they have the opportunity to launch off their own line out.
Both sides, hurry up in the line, put some pace on the game.
Referee wants pace on the game. Don't we all, Wayne? Don't we all? Marchand down for Dupont. Nice bit of movement in the midfield. France around the outside. Just can't get Macalou away. Dupont. Good scramble defense from South Africa, but they're stretched. Aldrit goes route one, tries to suck a couple of more defenders in. Marchand pops it off to Cyril Bay. Dupont once more. Antonio, beast of a man, gets another yard. South Africa done a good job of slowing it down, but France just 3 meters short now. Dupont, Ficou, they have plenty of men out to the right. They have advantage as well. They come back to this left-hand side. Are they there? Referee says they are. France get their first try of the evening. And I think in amongst all that is Cyril Bay.
Well, it might have been scored by a prop, but that was set up by Damien Penaud. Does so many good things in the build-up to all the positive French attacks. The defensive system all out of sync. It's Sia Khaleesi making the wrong choice of attacker. And when Cyril Bay and his sizable frame get the ball from that distance out, there's no chance you're going to stop him.
Yeah, there was a sense of inevitability about that once Penaud got around the outside and fed Macalou. Once they were in behind, South Africa were always chasing shadows.
Well, interestingly there, in that huddle, there's a lot of glum South African faces, as you would think, but normally they'd expect themselves to be able to bounce back. They know full well they're down to 14 and they're under the pump here in Marseille.
Great camera angle.
Look at this break from Penaud. Out of the clutches of Creel, ball in 2 hands. That's a brilliant tackle from Arendse on the width. And Khaleesi, he stepped in on Marchand, made the wrong decision. Simple 5-pointer for Cyril Bay.
Cyril Bay's 3rd international try has France out to a 13-point lead. Gregory Aldrit this time with the restart watches it into the bread basket.
He had a lot of time to think about that one, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And France are absolutely in control now. And you can see the confidence in just about everything they do. Even in the scramble, there's a confidence.
It's that ability to get on the outside of a defender, create your space, kick on your own terms. Yes, Ficou probably wasn't expecting that. But if he knows the defence is struggling to get to him, he can actually kick on his own terms, bring that South African defence up, use the space in behind.
Should have said this a long time ago. Moefana has gone into the midfield alongside Ficou, with Macalou obviously coming in on the wing. That all as a result of the replacement of Danty. Mbonambe at the back of the South African maul. Last time they went to the maul, they got a little bit of change out of it. They're inching forward, and now it's better than that. But there's disruption, and a legal disruption. Jelonch, the man who is penalised, and it's a penalty to South Africa. Down to 14 men and 5 minutes or so into this game. It's early to say it, but you feel that South Africa have to score next.
Well, they have to try and work out a way to play in the South African attacking zone. Try and play in that French final third. At the moment, everything's being played in the middle of the field or down the other end. Cheslin Colby
Fancies this.
It's not normally the lads with short legs that fancy it, is it? It's normally the rangy ones, maybe someone like him.
There's Yellow at the side. That's where the penalty came from on that maul.
Just addressing Sekou Makalu on the wing. You may wonder, he's on the wing, but he's got some line-out lifters on. Well, this is someone that can play in the back row, centre or wing. So when you've got Maxime Luku and Mathieu Jalibert as your 9 and 10, you've got someone with the ability to play anywhere in the form of Sekou Makalu. Tell you what, no wonder Cheslin Colby's gone over there to take the kick, because he's defending him.
This one is a long way out and on the angle. Everything has to go right. Oh, what a kick. Take a bow.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And finally, there's something for the South African supporters in the stands to shout about.
That was absolutely on the money. France 13, South Africa 3. So then, Roman Ntamak to the sky once again. Makalu goes after that, and Makalu wins that. And what a pass back to Ramos. Looking for a gap. Did really well to get away. Mostert eventually put him down. Antonio always seems to attract at least 2 defenders. Etzebeth gets in and gets the ball for South Africa. Good work from the second row. They're going to need every bit of his experience and ability now, South Africa. De Klerk. Walkie trying to strip the ball away in the tackle. Couldn't do it. South Africa again, ball in hand. Colby, dancing feet, almost away from Makalu. Willie Leroux. South Africa have got a player down, effectively down to 13 right now. Jesse Creel, another good carry from him. Etzebeth, de Klerk. Better period of play this from South Africa to control the ball. Willemse, he's isolated though. Ball back on the South African side. Colby.
Look at this French defence though. They're not panicking at all. They know exactly what they're doing. Not over-competing at the breakdown. They know South Africa are down a man anyway. Why compete at a breakdown when you haven't guaranteed the chance of winning that ball? Just get back on your feet. Work hard, get in the defensive line.
Wasn't clear the tackle was there. Maybe.
De Klerk will eventually go to the air. Well, that was unnecessary from Aldridge. That was never out. Not really sure what was running through his head. Not much is probably the answer.
I would say as well, he ran up, but he didn't actually touch Faf de Klerk, so he could have gone back, potentially.
Well, what it means is pretty straightforward. 30 or so meters for South Africa, taken by Faf de Klerk. He's got a lot more out of it than that, actually. It's deep into French territory.
Well, it's Antonio that conceded the turnover, as we see Colby.
It's not my decision, it's a doctor's decision.
And number 3, blue RCA.
Doctor's decision is what the referee is saying to Mbonambi, which means that Malcolm Marks will come in for the moment at least.
not a bad replacement.
No.
I was downstairs in the depths of this stadium watching the players come off the bus. Malcolm Marks is a human wall. He is enormous.
First thing Marks must do is find his man and try and get South Africa going forward. Antonio is gone, by the way, in the front row. That injury has taken its toll. Falatia is in. South Africa are on a roll and continue on that roll and get advantage. And Kolisi, untouched. Over he goes. South Africa with advantage, take advantage. We thought they might disappear. Not now.
Well, if ever they could rely on someone to set the standards, to never take a backward step, Sia Kolisi's that man every time. Just broke up all the French looking into the breakdown, actually, as Kolisi disappeared off, little pirouette in behind Moefana.
Ntamack was rooted to the spot. He didn't even see him going by.
Well, that's what he'll say anyway.
Sia Kolisi, 9th international try for the South African captain. And from 13 down, this could be a 3-point game in a moment.
Well, we normally associate Sia Kolisi with dominant tackles, don't we? But one of the only other things I've written down as one of my notes for him is standards. And he sets the standard for this team. So much pride in pulling on that number 6 jersey. As Colby knocks over the extra 2. But for someone like that, he knows, well, the South Africans know that he's just going to grab this game by the scruff of the neck and do what he can to drag his team forward. Talking of human walls.
Yeah, Roman Teo Fifanoa. In he comes, just trying to see who's gone. Confirm that in a moment. Maybe Flamand.
I think it is.
So Teo Fifanoa in for cap number 37, and now it's the turn of South Africa to butcher a restart. Really poor from Kwagga Smith, as it was from Aldrit earlier.
It's the second ball that Kwagga Smith's dropped tonight. And it now means that France have got such a brilliant attacking position.
Now Cyril Bay is gone. So that's both Antonio and Bay gone from the front row for France, which means Wardi and Falatia will come in. Lena Wardi for his first international cap.
I know they've been looking forward to seeing him get stuck into the front row. You see Cyril Bay struggling there.
Yeah, he was bandaged about 6 or 7 minutes into the game, was able to get back at it, so much so that he scored the French try after 21 minutes, but obviously it's given way completely now, and he can no longer continue. So lots of change for France. Wardi, Falatea, Teo Fifanoa, and Makalu. 4 replacements in the opening 32 minutes. Aldrit off the base of a scrum. Willemse did really well to stop him in his tracks. Gail Fickou, still one of the Rolls Royce of centres in World Rugby. Dupont, not that way. What about this way? Or what about straight down the middle? That'll do. Gets his team going forward again.
Just lost their shape slightly there, France. And they're losing their confidence in these zones. Where we saw them in those first 15 minutes, everything was going their way. Far slicker than the South Africans with ball in hand. Actually things have just started creaking a bit for the French.
Looks really good too.
Good scrum.
Keep them flat this side, especially.
Okay, scrum.
Willemse was the speed bump. Khaleesi finished the job. Khaleesi, I should say. And Dupont really.
Make sure you bind on him then. On him.
The line needs to be your side.
Come on, let's go. Crouch. High.
See Damien de Allende on the blind side there for South Africa. Faf de Klerk comes away with it and downfield it goes. It's a really good clearing kick, but we'll come back for the penalty. Referee feels there's no advantage because the ball would have been given over to France, albeit way back inside their own half. Flamand cuts a lonely figure in the hole below. You have to give huge credit to South Africa. 13 points down, the momentum very much Les Bleus, and somehow they've scrapped and fought their way back to within 3 points with 14 men.
France really think about this. They could just go back to the way that they tried to start this game. Applying pressure through their kicking game. Oh, that didn't quite come out of the slot from Faf de Klerk, but also stretching this South African defence. They're going to be one short. You have to try and stretch them in areas that you know they're going to be stressed defensively, whether that be on the width or if they start committing at the breakdown in and around that midfield area. With the runners that France have, they've already cut them open once, and that led to the try for Cyril Bay.
Malcolm Marx. South Africa secure possession at the front of the line out. They've had a little bit of trouble if they've gone any further to the mid or back division. De Klerk to Marx. This one's going in the air. Makalou did well, and he was taken in the air. Mark called, so no penalty. I have to say, I thought that Makalou was definitely touched in the air. Referee is the one that counts, Wayne Barnes.
Push forward.
Willemse, downfield, well dealt with by Ramos. Here comes Willie Leroux. Arendse. De Klerk. Nice hands in the midfield. South Africa options both ways. Willemse having a little look, see if there's anyone he fancies taking on, and the answer is no. De Allende, straight and true. And De Klerk to the air once more. This one isn't straightforward, but it is dealt with well by Romain Ntamak. And again, it's a mark that's given, not a penalty. Crowd don't like it at all.
Surely he played in the air.
That's twice I would have said so, but we play on.
50-20 on.
There's this one off to, it's dealt well with by Ramos. He knew he wasn't going to get to it with the hands, control it with the foot.
Hold that mark, Nico.
Ooh, this is dangerous. De Allende put to ground. Fickou and Makalou.
That's one of the benefits of having a back rower on the wing. When someone gets a half break, tries to stay on his feet, gets absolutely clobbered. Sign him up, get him in for Marseille. Look at this. De Allende thinks he's made the tackle. Absolutely battered from a French perspective, though, just on their kicking game, trying to go really long, which means they're just getting a foot into touch. And South Africa twice, and they've just been able to play really quickly. France almost want to just kick the ball into the front row of the stand, take a bit of a hit on the distance, and take their time.
And now more.
There for Dupont as France go in search of something before the break. We're in the dying embers of the first half. Ficou and Ramos, but that swarm defence from South Africa is oh so impressive. The line speed, the commitment, the accuracy, sending France backwards.
The numbers on this near side.
Up quickly comes de Klerk to stop it going out wide, and it's taken in by Moefana, and they get the penalty.
Back on the ball, please, one. Mark is out. 5 is there, 1 contesting the ball. I know you're trying, 1 still contesting the ball, it allowed him on it.
Now what do? You try to take the 3. Very clear decision from Dupont. Requests Ramos to step up, and this will likely be the last action of the first half.
Oh, it's pretty difficult, isn't it?
Isn't it?
For Mostert to get out of there. Yoram Moefana knows exactly what he's doing by pushing the ball into Mostert's back. Just means referee Wayne Barnes has got a decision to make.
I just didn't.
And when you've got a player in the kicking form of Thomas Ramos, why not have a shot at goal? Half-time is upon us, and you could be in the sheds at 16-10 up.
On its way from the boots of Ramos. Crowd will tell you that it's good. The last act of the first half. Advantage France. It's been absorbing and engaging. 2 heavyweights throwing the kitchen sink at each other. France lead it by 16 points to 10. So the players make their way back out to the Stade Velodrome in Marseille. Officials with them, and we're just about set to go. We saw the changing rooms there at half-time, some shots from the changing rooms. Tom May, I wonder what the message is to South Africa, because they looked tired. That extra man is going to, but they've spent a lot of time defending. It's a big ask for them now, isn't it?
Well, they've spent a lot of time defending, but they've also spent a lot of time getting through some big carries. 46 carries, 421 metres made. 4 out of the 5 top tacklers in that first half are actually French. So it shows you how South Africa came back into that game. The 2 master ceremonies in the stadium, getting the fans doing a bit of half-time karaoke to make sure they're getting in behind the French team.
Terrific, really is terrific. Wayne Barnes has us set to go at the start of the second half in the Stade Velodrome in Marseille. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're enjoying this final game of the day in this part of the world. Of course, still one more game in this Autumn Nations Series weekend to come, and that is Scotland at home to New Zealand. Check your local listings for that one for the kick-off time.
Better kick from France there. Was further off field, which meant that Willemse, he could have thrown it in, but it had bought the French kick chase a bit of time. Now they can actually set their defence ready for this South African attack.
So you can see Umbanambi is back at the start of this second half. He went off for a HIA. but he's back. Marks, no doubt, will show up at some point in the next 20 minutes or so. Sit down.
That's a winger on a back rower.
Into the air, not for the first time from de Klerk. That's a really good kick, and it put Makalu under all sorts of pressure, but he adjusted well. Having said that,
Okay, now, Sia, just 1 second. You've got the penalty, but there seems to be everyone wants to commentate and tell me how to do. Everyone. So please, enough shouting now, please. That was Bongi, not you. No. He's shouting at me.
everybody wants to be a commentator. Everybody, says Wayne. Don't we know it?
South Africans did really well there.
Entry and off feet.
When you clear out a ruck, go past the ball. Don't stop at the ball.
Okay, but when you're shouting offside,
They did exactly that, and it meant the French had to come in to try and then to re-compete for it by coming in at the side. Really good technical skills at the breakdown there from the South Africans, and a brilliant take from Sekou Makalu.
Yeah, what about that moment for Chelsea Kobe on Antoine Gelonche? He'll remember that one for a while. On a serious note, you can understand why Wayne Barnes has had a word with the South African captain and their team. There's nothing worse for the referee. It's already difficult enough when you've 65,000 people screaming at you and all hell is breaking loose in front of you, and you've got to deal with the two captains. Enough of the back chat from everybody else.
Well, rugby as a sport is about making decisions under pressure. When you're physically under pressure, when you've got another team pressurising you, but also when you're tired. As a referee, doubly hard.
Right then, Cheslin Colby landed a one from downtown in the first half, lands a more straightforward one at the start of the second half, and we're back to a 3-point game. And boy, does he wish the ground can open up and swallow him right now. Peter Steph Dutoy, again, if you're joining us late, sent off in the first half for a ludicrous head-first tackle on Jonathan Danty. We saw a lot of it being replayed at the break. There was an assist, it has to be said, from Kwagga Smith, who pushed both Dutoy and Dialande into the ruck. Nonetheless, it was a straight red in any language for Wayne Barnes to give.
That was close. Brilliant pressure from Woki on Faf de Klerk. He's well bought into Movember, isn't he?
He sure is. Right then, what have France got from here?
Short and line out, Aldrit in the midfield. Will he be used as a decoy runner? Or option runner?
Marchand, Woki, and the French maul. Julien Marchand at the back. Definite advantage being played to France. South Africa pull down that maul, and the penalty will go France's way. And little surprised that referee isn't giving South Africa a warning, because that was about as blatant as it gets.
Probably the distance had something to do with it, but Antoine Dupont, this time last week, the French tapped the ball into the corner. No threat of that tonight. Another 3 points, please.
Surprised by that decision, 15 against 14. Game a little bit tighter than France would have expected, and now with that momentum behind them, they choose to... This is no gimme 3 either for Ramos.
It's no gimme 3, and you would think that France would have the confidence to put the ball in the corner with the number up, but you've got two brilliant line-out operators in Mostert and Etzebeth, and there's a bit of a risk, isn't there, in terms of getting that ball into the line-out, making sure it's won.
Sure, no doubt. But whether this goes over or not, that's a moment. That's a moment in this game that France might look back on. Ramos makes sure of the 3, which makes it look like a far better decision now. France back out to 6 points, 19 points to 13.
Well, not all kickers have it all their way all the time, but certainly France right now with Ramos, so good to be able to rely on a kicker with that much accuracy.
Aldrit runs into Etzebeth. France secure possession.
Angela!
It's not a maul, it's a caterpillar.
All live,
Or a
all
ruck, I
live.
should say.
Again, it's gone further into touch. Again, the kick chase from Gelange. And Makalou was better.
Okay.
Jonathan Danty seems no worse for wear. Doctors will decide whether he's in a position to take part next week. Japan, France's next opponents. South Africa are off to Italy with a terrific win over Australia at the start of this day. And Bonambi at the back of the South African wall. Big arms of Teo Fifanua were just about to get to him. Up into the air it goes. Competition, it's knocked forward by France, I think. And one way or the other, it's a penalty. And Faf de Klerk gets on with it really quickly. Right out of the Dupont playbook. South Africa on the charge. Dielende, advantage being played. Willie Leroux sets it up. South Africa menacing. De Klerk will go back. Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh no. This is horrible.
Absolutely horrible. Willie Leroux needs to get away. I know he's upset, he just needs to get away.
Was it
Cheslin Colby is the man on the ground.
Was it Penaud or was it Dupont?
I think it was Dupont, but the replay will confirm it.
Yeah, it's going to be a penalty offside, but let's deal with that one. Just make
It'll be a
first
penalty
thing
at
I want
least.
to do is just make sure Ches is okay.
Oh, it's
Okay?
Dupont. Well,
Whoa.
So not in a position to contest the ball, plays the man in the air, lands down.
Yes.
Okay, number 9. Red card.
Yes.
Anyone disagree?
Crowd ain't gonna like this, but that is reckless. It is absolutely reckless. Antoine Dupont.
well, he knows it as well. You could tell by his face. He knew he was in trouble. In his defence, his eyes were on the ball.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't take away from the fact he wasn't in a position to compete for the ball. He should have got
Just
up.
going to take him off for a head injury, okay? Just going to make sure.
And the crowd rise to their national captain.
Okay, so just going to check you out. I've just been asked to make sure you're okay with a HIA. I've just been asked by the doctor.
Cheslin Colby will be taken out for a HIA.
for 40
And it'll be a
from the
penalty to
doctor.
South Africa. A very different type of red card, but nonetheless, a very clear red card.
Yeah, very clear. I mean, when
Hold on,
when a
one
player
second.
knows
Let's
it, you
make
can
sure.
tell, can't
Let's
you?
get you back
Yeah.
to 15.
And to be
14,
fair,
sorry.
both Peter Steph de Toit and Antoine Dupont both knew that that was going to be a red card.
Okay, here we are. That's just here.
Now, arguably, this has more of an effect on the French than the South African red.
Mapimpi's into the game for South Africa. Cap number 35 for him. Cheslin Colby may come back, we'll see. South Africa 5 meters away from the French line. Mbambe and then Etzebeth. And they go to the maul and they squeeze and they add power. And Willie Leroux is thinking about going quickly, and he's been talked out of it. That one against
See, I can't
Olivon.
play advantage because all of your backs has joined that maul, okay? Yeah, if your backs don't join. Well, okay, if one of your backs doesn't join. There we are. You need to kick it.
So then we'll have Act 2 of the same play.
Fellas, up, not across an entry. Hold 10.
Maxime Luku waits. Mbonambi. South Africa go towards the tail, secure possession. France in really quickly, but South Africa around the corner. They have advantage again. France slow to get out of there. De Klerk, and that one is knocked forward. And it's another penalty. And it's all bubbling up now.
Well, Rafael Ibanez, he talked of giving opportunities, didn't he, to his team so he can learn more about them and actually give them confidence. If they get themselves out of this situation, as South Africa bring on the cavalry, then he'll learn a huge amount about his team.
In comes Stephen Kitsoff, Vincent Cook, Malcolm Marks.
That's necessary for the player to return to the ground. Okay, let him land, not in the air.
All new front row for South Africa. Third time the line out, 5 meters short of the French line. Third time South Africa have gone to the maul. Malcolm Marks broke away, but he was nearly cut in half. Such was the ferocity of the French tackling. Kitsoff puts the head down and tries to burrow his way there. 14 against 14, remember. There should be a little bit more room out there. Can South Africa find it? Vinny Leroux, out wide it goes. Arendse. South Africa are in and over in the corner.
Well, it's perhaps not the try that we might have expected from Arendse, but that is a brilliant finish. Up against Jelonch in the wide channels, just a bit of footwork, enough of an explosive start to get on the outside, and then Jelonch, the covering back rower, did what he could, didn't he, to drag his feet into touch. But South Africa 1 point behind with the kick to come. This is not over.
Not by a long way.
Well, France haven't beaten South Africa since 2009. The last two fixtures were 1 point and 3 points respectively, I think, or maybe the other way round. But this is on a knife edge.
Still the guts of a half an hour to go.
Hello.
Faf de Klerk nonchalantly strikes it over those that have made the jersey in the green and gold of South Africa are on their feet.
Now
When Pieter-Steph du Toit left this game after about 12 minutes, it looked like South Africa were going to disappear out the back gate, but they have dragged themselves back into this game. Add to that the Dupont sending off, 14 against 14. It's a 1 point game, and South Africa are in the lead.
Well, it'll be interesting now as well. This French crowd have been used to their team being ahead over the last number of games. It's all very well getting behind your team when you're ahead, but what can you do to help them when they're on the ropes?
Well, they found a way last week, of course. Quagga Smith, he's really juggled with the restarts, hasn't he? Aldrit makes way, Luku in, France. Well, the voices are raised. That one's going to wander out.
Cameron Woki, he's getting ever closer to Faf de Klerk's box kicks.
No, they're not.
He's got some wingspan, does Woki.
There's a few in that French pack, you could say that about.
I'll give
Real look of concentration and focus. South Africa just edging the possession stats, 57 to 43. Now Fiku, defensive captain, with a lot to think about.
Well claimed by France under pressure. Marchand comes around the corner. South Africa are there in numbers to put him down. Luku feeds it off to the man mountain, that's Teo Fifanoa. South Africa come pouring through. You talked about Khaleesi setting the tone, leading by example. He's done it there, and he's done it in spades. And Kitshoff finds himself in a little bit of open country, and South Africa are warming to the task, and they continue to come. And it's France, all of a sudden, who look like they're on the back foot and chasing the odd shadow. Faf de Klerk, where's this one off to? Arendse out-jumped by Jelonche, and will come back for France being offside. And the crowd, as one, rise to boo.
I understand the kick from Faf de Klerk, but when you've got advantage,
yeah,
why not have a free play? Yeah. Why kick the ball away? Why not try and do something that's more expansive? I think it's just quite a negative thought process. We've got advantage, just kick it away, let's take the three. Maybe not. Level numbers, you've dragged yourselves back in, why not take the three?
No, it's on you.
Make it 23-19.
Remember, France have lost the last 7 against South Africa. Stretches all the way back to 2009. And they last beat them, that in Toulouse. He's seen it all, hasn't he? 11 on the bounce for France. New Zealand, Argentina, Australia, Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, Japan, Italy. All beaten in the best run that the French national team have ever gone on. Big kick for Faf, and he nails it.
Brilliant kick. Hit the ball, knew exactly where it was going, turned and ran off.
France 19, South Africa 23. And still lots of time. There's going to be an ebb and a flow in this one, yes.
And use it! Forward stop.
This is an opportunity.
This is. That's come from absolute pressure. You wonder why de Klerk didn't take that one on himself.
Well, he didn't have the protection in place that he'd had before, and you just wonder whether the hard work that Cameron Woki's put in terms of putting pressure on Faf de Klerk's kicks has paid off. Took the option to go to Willemse, and that is a 50p foot if I've ever seen one. France, a real chance now to get themselves back into this game.
Marchand towards the tail. France set them all. The referee's arms are down by his side. Well, they aren't now. Advantage being played. There for Luku. France trying to go wide, but there's just no change as the rushing South African defence cuts off all the options. Fiku, little offload. Oh, out wide it goes. Great handling. Then South Africa slam the door once more. Here's Woki. Antonio. South Africa in once more, disrupting. No armchair ride for France. Door slammed shut again. Ramos sent backwards, no advantage. Will go all the way back for the first infringement.
Still time on the clock. 22 minutes. Doing my
Lots
maths
of
right.
it.
Doing my maths right. Tamak
Now-
looking at the corner. Olivon saying, hang on a minute, mate. You're not in there in this maul.
Charles, vous êtes captain maintenant? Ah, moi aussi.
Did well to ride that tackle on Tamak, didn't he?
Great hands there.
That's what they're so good at, isn't it? Broken field, the ability to pick off defenders.
Yeah, but as good as that was, South Africa matched every move with a smashing tackle. Beauty and the Beast in the last 3 minutes or so. Ramos.
5 from 5.
Flags go up as they always seem to do when Ramos kicks for goal. We head towards the hour mark. It's a 1-point game in Marseille.
Please don't ask me to put my mortgage on this one. Unbelievable test match. Two heavyweight boxers standing toe-to-toe, slugging each other.
Mavaka in to replace Marchand. Falatia into the front row. Change also for South Africa.
Okay, watch on when you want.
Reina Kane. That's a big call.
It's a big call. I'll tell you one thing, it'll raise the pace of the game.
Faf de Klerk makes way. Furry in as well. All change on both sides. Lots of attrition in the first half meant lots of substitutes. Now it's more tactical.
Maxime Luku. What a great exit from the Bordeaux-based scrum half. Gives a good platform to South Africa, taking their time to get to this lineup. The accuracy, it has to be here.
Okay.
These opportunities, they're what teams work so hard to create.
As always, France compete on the South African line-out, but South Africa have come away, and Kolisi's taken way more yards than the French defence should have given him. Willemse almost wriggles free. Kitshoff, Etzebeth on his shoulder, there's some poundage there. Mostard. All the way across the field, South Africa come. Now they do the hard yards going forward. And on they go. Furry takes it in. South Africa 3 meters short when the ball came out of that breakdown. They have men over here, you know. Arendse! France did really well. It looked like the little man was going to find a way home, but somehow, Makalou and co put him into touch. I think Luku was the other involved.
That's brilliant defence from the French. Look how hard they're working. Big initial hit from Luku. But I tell you what, Makalou, he might play here, there and everywhere, but he's been brilliant on the wing.
Good, strong running from Gelanche now. Oh, they're away. Great tackle. Arendse, Makalou held on to it on the ground. Didn't release it. Gotta release it when he's held in the tackle. Doesn't like it, but it's the right call.
Maybe I've put my blue fleece on too early. I'm seeing things with French eyes.
You didn't think so?
That was pretty quick, wasn't it?
Well, let's have a little look here.
It's a good piece of attacking play. Oh, Arendse gets his own. He's not held there.
Oh, You know what? Only me and Wayne Barnes thought that was the right call.
Now, Wayne Barnes has been spot on all night. That was wrong. And it could be an incredibly important three-pointer.
Do you think he knows he was wrong yet?
There's a few people telling him. On the sign in the corner of the stadium it says, "Thanks for respecting the kicker." That's gone out the window. Willemse, first shot at goal of the night. How'd you fancy it?
He's going to kick it through a wall of noise. On its way from Willemse. Is it going to get there? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This game has got everything. Not held in the tackle.
Nowhere near held.
The only thing I'll say in Wayne Barnes' favour here, it happened so quickly, I have to say, you know, I thought it was. Referee only gets one shot at it, everybody else gets replays.
Well, also, doesn't change the scoreline, does it? Just get on with it.
22 points to 26. South Africa lead.
And use it!
Reineck
That's out for a second.
plays his club rugby, of course, in France, in Montpellier. He and Cheslin Colby, the two South Africans who play in this part of the world. It was really good play to keep that ball from going into touch from South Africa. Crossfield kick, ooh, almost got away with it. Mapimpi inches away from being set free.
Well, Mapimpi is class in his own right. And there's nothing against him. But that crossfield kick from Willie LaRue, oh, I guarantee you, Cheslin Colby's catching that.
Scrum, melee blue. First scrum of the half.
What?
Okay.
It can't be right. First scrum of the half.
Well, it's definitely the first scrum of the new front rows in.
Closer. Equilibre, Shakita. Stability every stage.
That midfield South African defence so tight. They back Arons's pace to shuffle out to the outside. Let's not forget, they'll be down. Makalu's at 8. They shifted a wing in to the back row. So the French, well, they'd be absolute lunatics if they went wide.
Front rows go down.
There's movement. Just need you higher. Blue on his knee, but we got too much movement.
All this time, remember, 14 against 14. It's easy to forget that Peter Steph du Toit in the first quarter of this game and Antoine Dupont in the first part of this second half, both receiving red cards, so it's 14 against 14.
Is it weird that I'm nervous?
It's no, not even vaguely.
What a shot.
Crouch.
One of the iconic French stadiums.
Bind. Set.
Ntamak and Moefano.
First man there.
Who's going to win this one? Who's going to win this one? France just about have it. Teo Fifanoa is going to play the ball. Thought he was going to play scrum half. Thought better of it. Woki will pick and shuffle it on. Jelonche. Back it goes, and into the air it goes from Roman Ntamak. It's up there a long time, but it's back on the South African side. Willemse did so well. Arendse finishes the job. South Africa back in control of the ball again. Neither side want to play in their own half. Ramos. South Africa pile in, but don't roll away. I think it might have been Creel.
11, roll away.
It's Aronsa who's penalised. And now France can try and get every bit out of this kick and set up camp inside the South African 22.
As a member of World Rugby, telling Faf de Klerk he is a used sub, so he cannot stand pitchside. They're having a right old ding-dong down there with the South African management.
Lavaka, Waki, French maul.
Is travelling.
Is it what? Mawaka, on he goes. From all the way back there, France meters away from scoring. Still on for them. Villy Leroux, Damien Penaud.
He knew he had the penalty, didn't he?
What a maul from France.
Well,
You rarely see South Africa skittled like that.
What a maul from France, but to be fair, it was all Malvaka.
2 offences, you're the second.
Oh, and it's a yellow for South Africa. This is a huge moment.
It is absolutely enormous moment in the game. Referee, well, I think he had no option. That was going all the way to the try line. And
gone all the way to the 5-metre line. Only one decision to make.
well, you know what's coming, don't you? It's 14 against 13 now. Footy makes way for the yellow card. Intimac makes way. Substitute. Novaka doesn't find his man. They've butchered it. Fiku comes in. And Reina completes the clearance. Oh, this has got everything.
That is a huge opportunity.
Well, we saw South Africa in the first half with 2 opportunities right inside the French 22, and they butchered it with the line out. And France have gone and done exactly the same, but at a moment in the game where they could least afford it. Ori comes in. Kolisi is the one who will make way. Damien Dealande, I think, is captain. Just Wayne Barnes wants confirmation who the captain is, so he knows who's barking at him. Where's that one off to? It's rescued by Jalonche, who's been really good. Luku. Malvaka. Luku once more. France have numbers. Can they exploit? Makalou. Power and pace up to the 5-metre line. Blue wave coming.
Massive hit.
France continue on. Waki. Marks goes after it. Advantage being played. Penalty, France.
This is going in the corner again. I'll tell you what, Benjamin Kaiser, who's commentating for another channel, is jumping up and down.
Penalty.
He wants another yellow.
You're still jackling.
Well, you can understand the call for another yellow. It was a try-scoring opportunity. 14 against 13. South Africa down to 13. Into the corner it goes. Clock says 7 minutes in what has been a pulsating test match. Walkie the target, down it goes quickly, almost there, held up. Moefana just couldn't get there. South Africa defending as if their lives depended on it. France just keep hammering away. Surely it will come. It's another advantage. They're dragged over and the try is awarded. Try given. Advantage was there. And they took it.
Please don't run and start shouting at me again. The try is good. I've seen it.
South Africans complain. Referee not interested. At that point, they didn't get there in the end. Just about. Valatia, the man who was eventually dragged over. 5 minutes on the clock. France back in the lead by 1. That will surely become 3. Wow. You just have a feeling this one isn't done yet. Ramos. I think we're going to the TMO, are we? He's been told to hold on. Referee Wayne Barnes looking to try to get to Brian McNeice, the television match official.
You can hear me.
The
Carl, you can hear me. Christoph, Brian, can you hear me? Okay, have we lost comms with the TMO?
There have been issues with the communication system with the referee earlier.
Lost comms with the TMO?
And it sounds like...
Okay, we cannot hear the TMO.
Wayne Barnes and Brian McNeice can't hear each other.
Just so you know, il y a un problème avec la communication avec la vidéo de arbitrage. Donc,
and he won't let the conversion happen until he gets confirmation that the try was good.
Please, please, don't do that again. Thank you.
And now Wayne Barnes has had a little word with the cameraman and asked him to step back. And the try has been confirmed.
William, when you run off, can you ask that him never to do that again? Merci.
Oh, living drama.
So have we lost communication with the TMO altogether?
Ramos.
Is that you, Brian?
Well,
yeah, I've got you.
Everything is going crazy around him. Is not able to find the conversion. That could be huge. There was just so much going on there. And it clearly threw him because that was as straightforward a kick as Ramos has had all night.
Yeah.
He's missed the conversion. It's a 1-point game. We've got 4 minutes left. Manny Libbok's in the game. South Africa will believe they can still do this.
Let go.
Any score will do.
No, you're putting...
For France, it's about control. It's about running the clock down.
No, Stephen, you're not on your feet now. No. Okay. Lash.
Decision, though, is to kick it away. Luku with the kick. South Africa with the ball. All the way back on the 10-meter line from Villiers-le-Roux. Forward. Forward. Oh, marginal. The replay will confirm it. Wayne Barnes, I think, got a call from the assistant over on the far side.
Watch stop, watch stop, watch your stop, watch your stop.
Khaleesi screaming from the bench to have the clock stopped. It is, of course, Dupont sent off in this second half. Looks on.
Doing other way.
France look like they're going to make another change. Chanelou comes in. What a time to make your debut. Woki makes way. He's been immense. Didn't get a replay, did we, of that pass from Villiers-le-Roux? It was forward, but from Wayne Barnes.
Crouch, watch on. Bind.
Inside the final 3 minutes. France in control of the ball, and that's everything right now. And their scrum has given them a penalty. And the 67,000 here believe it's given them the game.
Back you go, please. Back you go, please. Come on. Okay, going for goal.
Going for goal.
Do you have a 60 seconds?
Absolutely no surprise in that. And the referee has made it very clear that he's on the clock. That was an enormous scrum from France. You consider the opposition and their scrummaging prowess. Peter-Steph du Toit, what a night for him. Well, Ramos given the opportunity to atone for the missed conversion, which really has made these last moments a little bit more difficult than they might have been. .90 seconds left in the game. Ramos. Normal service is resumed. It's a 4-point game. France 30, South Africa 26. They'll get one last go. Possession, everything right now. Who has it? South Africa do. Out it comes, Mapimpi. France will tackle for their lives. Tackles complete as France try to hold the man up and create them all. That's a fair contest. And it's a contest that's won by Moefana. Fantastic intervention by the man who switched from wing to centre when Danty was taken out of the game on that red card decision. And it's his act that has lightly claimed what will be a perfect year for French rugby. The clock goes red and France goes wild. That was a phenomenal test match. It had absolutely everything you could want. Full of drama. Sure, there were mistakes made by both sides, by the officials. But it had everything you'd want in a sporting encounter as two Goliaths went head to head, and France won it by 13.